Hello, so in this section we are going to create the star's background. This part is actually relatively simple. We are simply going to create a shader for our world background. What we can do first, is to hide our wormhole object with the H key. Then we can set our viewport to cycles, so we can see the build-up of the star's shader in real time. After that, we can decrease our render samples for the viewport render, since usually, rendering the world background does not require such high samples. Then, in the node editor window, switch to the world nodes by clicking on the little world icon. Then with the period key, you can center the selected nodes. You can duplicate the world node, since we are going to give our shader the option to switch from a black background to the star's background, with the help of a mix shader, which we will add now. Here, just to demonstrate that you can switch between the two background nodes with the mix shader, by simply sliding the fact value up and down. Then we can add a texture coordinate node and a mapping node, and make the connections as shown. Also make sure you leave some space in between, like in the video. The next node we can add is the Voronoi texture node, and connect it to our mapping node. After which we can also add a color ramp node, and connect it to the Voronoi node. Again, we can move some nodes to make space. We need more space, even though we are in outer space, which has a lot of space, yet we run out of space. Such a contradiction. Let's also connect the color ramp node to our bottom background node. Now you can see something in the viewport render. Wow, such magic spaces. Although, how it looks like now kind of sucks. We are going to change the size of those Voronoi parts with our color ramp node. We can set the color ramp setting to ease, and after that, move the right handle slowly to the left. When you do, you'll understand why we needed the color ramp node. Now those big blobby thingies turned into tiny stars. Now, in order to make our stars smaller, we might have to input the position manually, in the position field, of the color ramp node. Let's zoom in on the viewport render, to see our stars closer. Since our final render will be full HD, we need to make our stars smaller than you think, judging from only the viewport render. We can also use the Voronoi scale value to increase the amount of starts. You might have to toggle a bit between decreasing the left handle position of the color ramp and increasing the scale of the Voronoi texture. Just try adjusting a bit until you get a sweet spot. Perhaps try out a full render to see if the size is okay. When you do, Make sure to toggle the render icon in the outliner of the wormhole object, so it won't render as well. If you want, you can also change the color of the stars. You can do this by changing the color of the left handle on your color amp. Now, in order to create even more stars, you can select the Mapping, Voronoi, and Color Amp node, and duplicate them 3 times, and place them on top of each other as shown. Then, we can add a Color Mix node and connect the 2 color amps on the top with that. Also, do the same for the 2 bottom color amp nodes. Then connect the 2 color mix nodes, with another color mix node, and connect that to the bottom background node. Since we duplicated the stars node group, we will not see a difference, since the 3 duplicated stars pack are right on top of each other. So we need to change the location or rotation in the duplicated mapping nodes. You can also change the color of the left handle of the duplicated color amp nodes to give the stars a color variation. So now when you check the viewport, you'll see our stars having 4 different colors, representing for example red giants, blue giants, or simply giant stars like Ariana Grande.
Ariana Grande is not a star, she is just a singer.
Now when you move the timeline slider, you'll see the stars moving. Well actually, the camera is moving, but moving stars sounds more poetic. We finished the first half of our stars shader. I hope to see you in the next video, where we will finish the shader.